Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel, and today we are checking out A Clockwork Orange. I don't really know anything about this movie, and I'm a little nervous to get into this movie for two reasons. Number one is I know that there is an eyeball scene in this one. I've seen the image and maybe some moments of it where his eyes are like, woo, open, and I don't know what they're doing with the eyeballs, and I'm really hoping it's not gross, because if it has anything to do with needles or just eyeballs in general, it's, ooh, you know, I'm gonna die if I watch it. But I'm nervous that the whole movie's gonna be a little gross, but I'm kind of hoping that it's just that moment. And two, I am nervous because one of my friends watched this movie, I don't know, about a month and a half ago, and she said that she didn't really enjoy it. So I'm very interested to find out. I know it has really good reviews. I know it's held in a very high standard, but my friend didn't like it, and you know, I trust her judgment in films. But I'm going into this with an open mind. It is a movie that I've always felt like I needed to watch. It is a Stanley Kubrick movie, and especially after I watched Doctor Strangelove, I thought that I should watch this movie at some point. I've seen 2001: A Space Odyssey, just in case you guys want me to watch that. I really like that movie. And because I really like 2001 and I really like Doctor Strangelove, I'm thinking I'm gonna like this movie. I think I'll appreciate this movie more than my friend, because she doesn't usually appreciate more like the directing style and stuff like that, and that's something that I really appreciate in movies. So I'm really excited for this one. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm hoping it's not super gross, and I don't even know what the plot of this movie is. It's just like the people in white suits with like the bowler hats, very iconic, but I don't know what their purpose is in the movie, and I'm excited to find out. And before we get into this reaction, let me do the lighting. So let me turn on the light and decide what color it should be. Okay, so I said I was going to do the lighting today, but my light literally is not working at the moment. It just won't turn on. So I'm gonna have to figure this out after my reaction. So if I had a color changing light, I would have gone orange, because Clockwork Orange, like orange would have been kind of fun. So sorry I don't have my color changing light. I'm a little disappointed in myself, but I don't know why it's not turning on. And if you'd like to check out more of my reactions, you can head over to my Patreon. I have uncut reactions to many of the movies I watch on YouTube, as well as early access reactions to my movies that come out 1 week early. There are also 2 exclusive Patreon movies a month that you guys on Patreon get to choose, so thank you so much if you check it out. Now let's get back to the video. Okay, I don't know what to expect from Clockwork Orange, but I am very excited, a little nervous, because I'm hoping this movie isn't like insanely gross. I hope the movie isn't all eyeball sequences, but I'm also excited to see what this very famous Stanley Kubrick movie is all about. So let's get into it. I hope you enjoy my reaction to Clockwork Orange. This orange is actually blasting all of my senses. Oh, thank God for the blue. These outfits are so famous. I'm really excited to figure out what they're for. I hate that he's just staring at us.
Streets broad and narrow, crying cockle and...
Is this the bowler hat gang?
Filthy, dirty old drunkie, howling away at the filthy songs of his fathers.
Oh, they're gonna beat him up. Oh no, this poor guy. He's getting chained. Oh, this movie already a little disturbing, I gotta say. I think I'm in for an uncomfortable watch. Oh, that's creepy. That's so creepy. But I mean, what the people are doing is definitely more creepy. Oh my God, that guy just decided to jump through a window for no reason. The music choice is very interesting. It's very dramatic, but classical.
The police! Come on, let's go!
They're not police officers. Maybe they're just like vigilantes, like Batman. That's a nice house. So maybe they're not even vigilantes, they just like being ultra violent. I'm confused about who they are, but maybe I'll learn later. Or maybe I'm just dumb. It's a very Wes Anderson-y shot.
I'll go and see.
Ah, that was amazing camera work. That was so cool. Just a slow
Says there's been an accident. He wants to use the telephone.
Telephone? 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 Telephone
Well, I suppose you better let him in.
Nope, worst decision of your life. Oh, this poor man.
I'm laughing at clouds so dark up above.
Oh, my days.
And I'm singing, just singing,
No, not the books. Oh.
singing in the rain. What a glorious feeling.
This might be a hard video to put onto YouTube, I gotta say.
Singing in the rain. Pretty well, little brother. Pretty well.
This is so disturbing. In 1971 as well, and the movie already is like this. This must have, like, shocked audiences back then. This is shocking me now.
She suddenly came with a burst of singing.
She should stop singing. She should stop singing.
What did you do that for?
For being a bastard with no manners. I'm not a duke
What?
of an idea that
You all have no manners.
So best we go home ways and get a bit of spatchka. Right?
Right.
Sometimes they're speaking of puzzles. Like, what did you just say there? That was in English. That was in English. I really like the outfits, and I know it's iconic, but I like the red on their outfits, like the little almost blood-like stuff, and the main dude has like an eyeball on his sleeve, which is really cool. Ah, this is so interesting. This is just his normal day. It's funny that this is supposed to be the future, but they still have tapes. It's just funny. This movie is giving me a weird feeling. It's so interesting though, all these mixes of like classical music, like there's a classicness to it, a classiness to it, but then also just like a very disturbingness to it. Oh, what the heck?
Last date, Alex. You don't want to be late for school, son.
Wait a second.
All right, Mum. Have a nice day at the factory.
Wait, this is so cool. He's like dreaming stuff.
To work, yes? She gave me the key.
Why is that weird?
Oh, certainly by this evening, yes. The evening's the great time, isn't it, Alex boy?
Cup of the old chai, sir.
You notice how he's like, it's unsettling because of how he's speaking, but also how he was like just off center frame. It just made it a little bit weirder.
The one man in this sore and sick community who wants to save you from yourself.
Oh. Ow, man. Why?
What gets into all?
Ew. Ugh, he drank the teeth water. He drank the teeth water.
As clear as an azure sky of deepest summer. You can rely on me, sir.
No, stop. Stop. I can't.
Enjoying that, are you, my darling?
You don't have to yell.
What you got back home, little sister, to play your...
She's just letting that popsicle drip on her hand. It'd be so sticky.
You are invited.
I'm confused if this is a dream or if this is how he sees his room compared to what it actually is.
Hi there.
Well, hello.
Here.
No, I guess not. I thought he was making them a bowler hat person, but no, he was just having a fun time. You're a little too close there.
Alright, no more picking on Dim, brother. That's part of the new way.
But picking on Dim is the only way.
The big money's available is what Will the English says.
Big money.
Dim, you're trying your best.
Saying what we should do and what not to do. And Dim as his mindless, grinning bulldog. And I viddied right at once what to do.
Oh, no way. Oh. Aren't those there so you protect your crotches? He's getting rid of all of his people. I mean, it's just like a little bit of water, though. It's not like they're dying, they're just going into the water. Yeah, you run. You're smart. You run.
Down in the snug of the Duke of New York. Now they knew who was master and leader.
Yeah, it was a dominance threat.
It's this health.
Steal the cats. There are so many cats. She must be Catwoman.
I'm very sorry, but I never open the door to strangers after dark.
That's good. That's good. Oh, the classical music is actually such a good touch. It's so stressful.
Hello. Look, I'm frightfully sorry to bother you, but something rather odd has just happened.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Very like what was quoted in the papers this morning in connection with the writer and his wife who were assaulted last night.
Oh my god. So that actually happened. So this is... I'm confused by his bedroom then, I guess. Or maybe it's a whole different place.
Leave that alone! Don't touch it! It's a very important work of art!
It's a dick.
Before I throw you out! Wretched, slummy bedbug!
Yes, throw the bus at him! What am I watching? What am I watching? It's turned into like a comedy. Oh! Ow! Go, lady! Oh! Oh, that's cool. Yes! He kinda deserves that, I'll be honest with you. He's blind? Wait, no, is this gonna be the eye sequence? I'm literally dreading that moment, this moment in the movie.
Who gave you that then? Hey? How'd you do that then?
Oh, you don't. Why would you do that to the person who might torture you?
Bastard!
Oh my god, it's this happy fellow who drank teeth water. Probably grossest moment in cinematic history.
It was all their idea, brothers. They forced me to do it. I'm innocent.
You're literally the most guilty. Oh, that is disgusting. Oh, it's in his mouth. This has to be one of the most unsettling movies I've ever seen in my life. I gotta say, just...
And some very hard words spoken against your friend and humble narrator at her only child and son of her bosom, like letting everybody down, real horror show.
I know I'm a little late on this, but I like how he broke the fourth wall when he said your friend and humble narrator. I like that. That was kind of cool.
Pick that up and put it down properly.
But how's he supposed to put it down if he's so far away? Do they put the cigarettes and chocolate?
You bought in, you lose it.
Because it's Expendables?
No, sir.
One pair of underpants, white with blue waistband.
Are you now?
Ew.
Or have you ever been?
I would not touch those.
Not been edifying, indeed not. Being in this hellhole and human zoo for 2 years now.
2 years?
And I could video myself helping in and even taking charge of the toll-chocking and the name.
Oh my god. What?
Where these old Yehudis toll-chock each other and then drink their Hebrew vino.
Yeah, I think
getting onto the
there
bed with their
is
wives' handmaids.
something a little off with you, buddy.
How about putting me in for this new treatment, Father?
Is it the eye stuff? Is it the eye stuff?
I don't care about the dangers, Father. I just want to be good.
This man really wants to get out of prison. What is this? The circle walk? Is this their outside time? You know what I found interesting about this movie is the camera work is very structured and orderly and like proper and straight, while the imagery on screen for the most part is quite the opposite. And so it strikes this very unnerving balance of something that isn't quite right and something that is perfect. It's kind of really cool.
Punishment means nothing to them, you can see that. They enjoy their so-called punishment.
I wasn't sure they enjoy the punishment.
Thank you very much for this chance, sir.
Let's hope you make the most of it, my boy.
Shall we go to my office?
Thank you.
I don't think it's gonna be worth it, son. Also, while I'm watching this movie, I'm thinking about the title, A Clockwork Orange. And I'm trying to figure out how that title relates to the movie.
You will be able to leave state custody in a little over a fortnight. I suppose that prospect pleases you.
A fortnight? That's so fast. I wonder what happens.
If I may offer a word of advice, Doc, you'll have to watch this one. A right brutal bastard he has been, and will be again.
He is a pretty brutal man. I wonder if it's a nice room or if it's a cell.
Good morning, Alex. My name is Dr. Branham.
Ah, it's a pretty nice room. Oh, he's living in luxury.
In a few minutes, you'll meet Dr. Brodsky and we'll begin your treatment. You're a very lucky boy to have been chosen.
Don't show me the needle going in.
What exactly is the treatment here going to be then?
Oh, it's quite simple.
You think you'd ask before?
I'm going to show you some films.
You mean like going to the pictures?
Something like that.
Oh my god, is that how when his eyes stay open so he has to watch no matter what?
Where I was taken to, brothers, was like no cine I ever visited before. I was... If I was to be a free young Malchik again in a fortnight's time, I would put up
Did he
with much
actually let someone do this to him? Because you wouldn't be able to pay me $1 million for someone to do this to me.
Of cine, like it was done in Hollywood. The sounds were real horror show. You could slooshy the screams and
and look, they look like his gang.
But I tried to forget this, concentrating on the next film, which jumped right away on a young divine.
Yeah, it's literally his gang, and thinks that he's done, sort of.
Will cause the subject to experience a death-like paralysis, together with deep feelings of terror and helplessness.
A death-like paralysis.
By this time tomorrow, you'll be healthier still.
It's actually like a form of torture, this.
The only sound being music. Then I noticed, in all my pain and sickness, what music it was.
Beethoven's music.
Stop it, please!
Especially because now his Beethoven's music is going to be associated with all of this violence for him.
I'm sorry, Alex. This is for your own good.
I love how they're like on a little bit of an angle.
You must take your chance, boy. The choice.
Oh, this is making me feel ill. Ugh.
Now what I've never seen before. I'm cured. Praise God.
You're not cured yet.
No, you're not yet. You're not yet.
But be cheerful about it. In less than a fortnight now, you will be a free man.
So a fortnight of doing that stuff. This movie is one of the most unnerving movies I've ever watched in my entire life.
Speak louder then. Action now. Observe all.
I'm interested where this movie's going. I thought the rest of this movie was going to be spent doing this treatment stuff. Maybe doing different things for treatment.
I don't like your horrible type, do I? And if you want to start something, well, you just go ahead. Go on.
You've already started it now, though, so...
Your faithful friend and long-suffering narrator pushed out his red Yazik 1.5 miles to lick the...
Ew, 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 no, not again.
Sickness had
no,
whooshed up
this is too much.
and
You've already
turned the
proven your
light
point.
joy of battle into a...
This guy needs to be cured.
The fear of physical pain drove him to that grotesque act of self...
Yeah. He was basically tortured into doing it.
With a higher ethics, we are concerned only with cutting down crime.
We aren't concerned with ethics.
And the very next day, your friend and humble narrator was a free man.
Interesting, okay. Oh, that'd be weird.
What's happening, son?
Sorry, Em. I wanted it to be like a big surprise for you and P.
It's a surprise, all right.
The dad is not okay with this.
Munchy wunchy lump ticks of toast. That's Joe.
Our new son.
He rents your room.
I mean, you're reformed, but if you beat him up, that's okay.
What have you done with all my own personal things?
Yeah, what have you done?
Well,
don't you dare say you gave them away.
All took away, son. He met with like an accident. He passed away.
Not the snake. Not Basil.
No, but it's much more than that, though. I mean, I've got you two to think of. Who've been like a father.
Joe, you are a real solder.
Let it lie heavy on your consciences.
Now don't take it like that, Sonny.
How else is he not gonna take it like that? That sentence made no sense, but you get where I was going.
Can you spare some cutter, me brother?
Oh, it's like the start of the movie.
May the hooky fly. Holy Mother of God and all the blessed saints in heaven preserve her.
It's the same guy from the start of the movie. I was unsure.
They beat me and kicked me and punched me. Stop him! They laughed at me blood.
Wow, that guy who tripped him is the hero.
Trouble, sir. Oh no.
What?
How goes? It's impossible. I don't believe it.
Evidence of the old glasses.
How are they cops now? How is that even possible? The crimes they've committed are so bad.
Went for me, brothers. Well, you know I'm their side and can't be. Well, you can't be too.
I'm so stressed right now. The music is phenomenal. Guys, get him out of the water, get him out of the water. He's gonna die. Jeez, he was under for so long. I was gonna try and hold my breath, but then it wasn't worth it because I'd probably die. He fixed everything and he got a new typewriter. His old one is red, I think.
What on earth could that be?
We're getting the same movement. Oh my god, it's wonderful. Good job, Kubrick. And he's in a wheelchair.
Ghastly, horrible police. They beat me up, sir.
I bet he recognizes his voice or something.
Tortured in prison, then thrown out to be tortured by the police. My heart goes out to you, poor boy.
He's gonna destroy him himself.
Julian, draw a bath for this young man.
Certainly, Frank.
Wonder where the woman is. Did she die? No, don't sing that. No, that's what you sang in this house last time. No! I told you not to sing that song.
One from the place. Come on with the rain, I've a smile.
Never seen this movie, Singing in the Rain, if that's what it's called. And this man can never watch that movie. He's surrounded.
Happy days.
Don't drink it. It could be poison.
1960.
He's smart.
Haddock.
It looks
Very
like
good brand, sir.
not wine.
A very nice little number, sir. Well, here's to it.
Wow, he really just chugged that down. What if it was poison?
Have another glass.
Wonder how many times he had to do this scene and how many glasses of whatever this is he had to chug.
Your wife, sir? Is she away?
No, she's dead.
They did kill her.
To this very room you are sitting in now.
I was left a helpless cripple, but for her the agony was too great.
Oh, that makes sense. They basically killed her.
Very, very important people, and are interested in you. Julian.
Da 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 da. It's a Beethoven as well. Ba 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 ba. That's cool.
Here. Let me
Have
fill
some
your
more
glass.
wine. I'd literally throw the wine at his head at this point.
Didn't plan for. You see, Mrs. I'm very fond of music, especially Beethoven.
Was very fond, probably.
Van Beethoven.
It's all right, thank you.
I don't think I know how to spell Beethoven.
You do to sex and violence.
No, Mrs. You see, it's not all music. It's just the ninth.
It's just the ninth.
Any second, something terrible is going to happen to me.
Ah! Was it poison?
Julian, get the car, would you please?
What the heck has just happened?
I woke up.
At least they cleaned his face.
Then I realized what it was. The music coming up from the floor.
Oh my god, it's actually a torture room. This is ninth. Impressive that he's getting those pool balls in the whole time.
One moment of pain, perhaps, and then sleep forever and ever and ever.
No, 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 no. Oh, man. Oh my god, he's actually alive. He's actually alive. Oh, that's even more. That's even worse.
If I had snuffed it, I would not be here to tell what I told Harry.
It's true. I guess he's a narrator from the future, so he couldn't have died. What the heck?
He's recovered consciousness.
On a list of the most unexpected things I've ever seen in my life, that is probably top of the list. I mean, yeah, they're what they did to him is unacceptable.
What makes you think you are welcome?
Yeah, I was about to say, you guys suck.
Kept having this dream. And like all these doctors were playing around with me Gulliver. You know, like the inside of my brain.
Oh my god, were they actually?
The kind of injuries you have often have dreams of this sort. It's all part of the recovery process.
Were they actually poking around in his head?
Oh, blockos!
Good. What do you want?
Oy, it's getting like worse and worse.
Pick them all up and throw out! Fucking hell.
Oh, there. That's all there is to it.
Sounds like he's violent, but he's not getting sick.
But the tortures of the damned, sir. Tortures of the damned.
Yes, I can appreciate that you have had an extremely
No, he's helping from the beginning.
He's been mad with desire to stick a knife into you. But you're safe from him now. We put him away.
Put him away? Like dead or just in jail?
Idea in his head that you had been responsible for the death of someone near and dear to him.
Kinda was. I will say that.
We put him away where he can do you no harm. You see, we are looking after your interests.
Why didn't you answer the question? So vague.
What job and how much?
You must have an interesting job at a salary which you would regard as adequate. Not only for the job...
He's not saying anything. He's not saying anything. What's happening?
Good boy. Oh, yes, I understand you're fond of music. I have arranged a little surprise.
No, don't you dare play the knight. What's happening?
I was cured, all right.
And that was my reaction to A Clockwork Orange, the 1971 drama crime Stanley Kubrick film starring Malcolm McDowell, Patrick Magee, Adrian Corey, Anthony Burgess, and Warren Clarke. I loved that movie. I got into that movie more as it went along, and by the time we got to the like treatment stuff, the cure stuff of the film, I was so invested in this movie. Like, I don't know, it was weird. The start of this movie, I had a hard time getting invested into it. It was like very, very strange, very weird, very unnerving, and I found myself almost trying to separate myself from the film. But then as the movie went along, it started to absorb me a little more and absorb me a little bit more. And then by the time we get to the cure part of the movie, I was very absorbed in this movie and stayed until the very end of the film. And so I really, really enjoyed it. And again, I think looking back on this movie, I think the ending, I'm glad the start is the way it is, because it makes everything else in the movie so much more effective. And I think if I were to rewatch this movie, I think the start would grab me much more than it did originally. Also, I'd just like to say that was one of the most disturbing movies I think I've ever watched, if not maybe the most disturbing movie I've ever watched. Something about it, like watching these movies on the channel, at least, I think this was the most disturbing movie I've ever seen on the channel, because like I have never felt so queasy as I have watching a movie as I have watching this movie. It like literally there were moments in this movie where I started to feel like very faint, like very lightheaded, as if like I was going to faint. Like it happened once or twice, and like I've never had that feeling during a movie on the channel, and that feeling during a movie in general has probably only happened like once or twice in my life. Like I don't usually watch like queasy movies, you know, movies that will make me very lightheaded. And even if a movie's like insanely gory, for instance, it still doesn't make me feel like queasy. I'm like, oh, that's gross, but I don't feel like the way I did watching this. There was just something so unsettling, so unnerving behind the scenes, on screen, just visually and like audibly and stuff like that. And just like the way the story was going as well, just everything meshed together so well to create this very disturbing, unsettling presence, even if what was shown on screen isn't inherently disturbing. It was very cool to see. Like the craftsmanship behind it is excellent, and I'm going to get into that later in the review, but I just wanted to say like that was one of the most disturbing movies I think I've ever seen in my entire life. I also wanted to figure out why it was called Clockwork Orange, so I searched it up really quickly, and I liked this description. Apparently in the book he wrote that the title of the book, A Clockwork Orange, is a metaphor for, and quote unquote, an organic entity full of juice and sweetness and agreeable odor being turned into a mechanism. And I really like that, actually. That is a very, very cool title, and it is a very, once you understand what it's trying to portray, what it's trying to say, it is a very descriptive title of this movie, you know, of a person losing his free choice. And I feel like he gains back his choice, his like freedom of choice by the end of the movie. I think that's kind of what that vision was and stuff. That's how I'm portraying it, at least. Like the dreams of the doctors playing with his head was actually like happening, like someone was actually surgically trying to make him revert back to the way he was almost, and the government is almost trying to cover it up. But then like when he looks up, he has like that weird face, right, and he looks up into the skies, and then there's these two people just going at it on the ground and people clapping around. And I think the people clapping and the people on the ground are kind of symbolizing that he has the choice to choose again, because you know he was going over all these aggressive things in his head, or when he was talking to the psychiatrist he was saying all these aggressive things, he even smacked himself and stuff, and there was no notion of sickness, you know. And so I think that he got better, I guess, by the end, or not even got better, but just got the freedom of choice by the end of this film. But yeah, I liked that even though Alex was a pretty horrible person at the start of this movie, and he probably ends up as the same, like a pretty horrible person, I like that just the title A Clockwork Orange is very symbolic of Alex, and maybe just like other people in this movie, but very symbolic of Alex. I really enjoy that. Yeah, so let's get into a review of this movie before I get into the excellent music, a lot of classical music in this, and then some of the original score I think was incredible as well. So the music and then just the camera work of this movie I thought gave the movie a very unsettling presence. The story of it, everything about it, the costumes, like I don't know what I'm going to talk about, but yeah, I'm going to talk about it. So 8.3 out of 10 on IMDb and 87% on Rotten Tomatoes. Amazing scores. I'm so glad people appreciate this movie, and I would like to ask, how appreciative of this movie were people when it first came out in 1971? Because this movie is very graphic. I've heard that the book has been banned in places, or has been like banned and then unbanned and stuff in places. I know people have been arrested for selling the books and fined for selling the book because the book is very graphic. But when this movie came out, this is one of the most disturbing movies that I've ever seen, as I said. And in 1971, I can't imagine how disturbing this would have been, because in 1971, you don't really have these insanely disturbing or unsettling movies or very graphic movies at the time. You know, I feel like cinema for the most part was a little bit more reserved, a little bit more conservative, but this movie definitely broke that boundary. This movie definitely opened the floodgates of disturbing graphic content, and I just really want to know what the audience reactions to this movie when it first came out were, compared to maybe 20 or 30 years down the line, when people have had time to settle in, when cinema has evolved and become a little bit more graphic, a little bit more unsettling, and these types of movies are a little bit more common, and so people are more used to them, more open to them. I wonder if the reviews of this movie and the perception of this movie has become better over time, and was maybe this movie was seen as not very good or just too gross to watch when it first came out. I am very interested in that, but I'm glad that it looks like, at least on IMDb and on critic scores, that people really appreciate this film. Yeah, so the music of this movie was so good, and I think the music of this movie ties very well to just the overall unsettlingness of the story, because the music, the use of classical music and his love of Beethoven made the like really weird sequences all the more weird, because with classical music comes this kind of sense of properness. You know, you got like your high class people listening to classical music. Even in today's age, someone listens to classical music and they're very open about listening to classical music. Like, I feel like 9 times out of 10 when I meet people and they're like, yeah, I listen to classical music, they can be very snobby about it, and so that kind of enlists a sense of properness and high class society-ness to that person, even if they are being like a jerk about it. You know what I mean? Like, there's that perception of high class society if someone listens to classical music. And I like that the classical music, and at least for me, that perception of high class society was mixed with this very grungy, disturbing imagery. And so it almost were these two very opposite forces, the visuals and the music, that clashed, and they clashed in a way that worked, but they also clashed in a way that made everything even more unsettling. The score was also very, very loud. It was almost obnoxiously loud at times, and I think it really worked, again, to just bring around this disturbing fear almost in the audience, in me. And I really liked the use of music in this. Also, the original score for this film was incredible. It was like slow when he's like getting dragged in the forest by the 2 police officers who used to be part of his squad. The music was so slow and eerie but creepy, but also it, like, I don't really know, it just was disturbing, and I loved that sequence. And even though it was just like this long take of him getting dragged in the woods and he was just like behind the 3 characters, the music made me enthralled with it, and so I thought the music was great in this movie. Also, the visuals, and I mentioned it very briefly in the reaction, but the camera work of this movie was out of this world. And again, the camera work was very proper, kind of like the classical music. The camera work was very intentional. You know what I mean? There were a lot of these beautiful tracking dolly shots from left to right that would stop perfectly in frame, or people would be framed like dead center, or there would be like a nice like backtracking dolly shot as someone would walk forward and everything would be nice and centered. But then as well, you'd have these moments of uneasiness in the camera work, because the camera work was so proper for a lot of the movie. There are these moments of weirdness and just a tad bit of strangeness in the camera work, which was very exemplified because everything else about the camera work was so proper and straight and intentional. And even though these weird moments of the camera work were intentional, they felt off, and they were made to feel even more off because of everything else that came before it. Like, for example, when the guy, that happy guy, like, yes, you know that guy I'm talking about, I forget his name, he was sitting on the bed when Alex is home and he's in his underwear and he's like scratching his butt and stuff like that. You know the scene I'm talking about, right? The guy, it's like a very nice centered frame, the bed is there and stuff like that, and the guy is sitting just off center. And I know Alex comes and sits down and stuff, and then the center line is kind of in between them, but for like a long moment, at least, as the camera lingers there's a lot of good long takes in this movie, by the way, just letting the characters be the characters, letting the unsettling moments just kind of slowly evolve with each take. But that's not what I'm trying to get out here. The camera is lingering and lingering and lingering. Alex hasn't sat down. It takes like a minute and a half for him to sit down, and the guy is just so strangely off center, and it's just the way he's talking mixed with how the camera is framing him makes the sequence so unsettling. If he was like straight on in the camera, or more and more to the left maybe, or more and more to the right, I don't think it would have been as disturbing. I think it's the fact that he's just off center, and your body and your mind and stuff is like, he just needs to be a little bit to the left. If he's a little bit to the left, this framing would be perfect. But because he's just off, it's this feeling of that this shot was intentional, except for him being just off, and then there's this offness to it, and then it just makes like this buildup of disturbing and unsettling things happen. And you know what I mean? Like, I love the camera work in this, and I think it added a lot to making everything so unsettling. And again, with the long takes, there were so many moments in this movie where the camera just lingered. It was either pulling back or pulling forward, or even just a nice stationary camera, and the characters were just allowed to talk and feel the environment. And I think that's why as well this movie felt so unsettling, because this feeling of unsettling lingered in every single shot, and as a shot stayed and as a shot kind of grew or moved around, that feeling of unsettlement kind of stayed with it, and developed and evolved just kind of like those shots did. As the characters moved, so did that unsettling feeling. And I don't know, I think all of his camera work mixed with this very loud, obnoxious classical music at times, and then just the weird, crazy visuals on screen that literally pop out at you sometimes, like the colors are just popping out, I think gave this feeling of it was almost like uncanny valley, but it's not that. That's not like the right word, but that's kind of how I was feeling, where it doesn't feel right, yet you're seeing it and you're hearing it. And you know what I mean? Like, and I think that is why even things that weren't supposed to be or aren't in real life disturbing were made to be disturbing in this movie. I don't know. There was just something so masterful about it. I might be on the wrong track, but yeah, that's just like my initial thoughts, and I think that is why it's so disturbing, so unsettling, and I think that's why I loved it so much too. Yeah, I should get into the costumes as well, because the costumes were so much fun in this movie. The sets as well were crazy. I love the bowler hat, white outfits. I know they're really iconic, but I can understand why they're so iconic. Like, they're very simple outfits, but very effective. They definitely stand out, even though they're just like a black hat and like a white outfit. They somehow managed to make those outfits pop in the movie as if they were full of color. And then again, all the other sets and stuff in this movie had so much like just in them. Like, even the cells, which were very barren, were very interesting because they were very grimy and grudgy, and the world itself was very grimy and grudgy, but it had this like retro future feel to it, which I really enjoyed. The bar that they went to at the start of the movie where they were drinking milk and stuff, and like they had the girl mannequins, just like, I don't know how you come up with this stuff, but it is very interesting to look at. I'm only going to talk about Malcolm McDowell as Alex because everyone else didn't really have like a huge role in the movie. Everyone else was almost like a side character, and you know, they came in every once in a while, Mr. Alexander being probably the most prominent one, followed by Alex's parents, and then Alex's like Goonies, I forget what they called his little brothers, I guess, the three other guys. But I don't think they're in the movie enough. Like, I think they all did a great job, an amazing job, because if any of those performances were off, I don't think this movie would have been as good as it was. But we didn't really get a sense of their characters too much, whereas Alex, we are with him the entire movie. He's also our narrator, so I think I can only really speak on Alex properly, and so that's what I'm going to do. So Malcolm McDowell as Alex, I thought he did an exceptional job, not dog. I'm sorry about that. My brain is a little fried at the moment. I've never heard of this actor before, but man, he did a great job. He was so creepy. He added this, like, I don't know, just like the opening shot of him staring into your soul as the camera moves away, and even though it's so far away, you can still feel his eyes glaring into the back of your skull. It was so creepy, and I think that creepiness kind of perpetrated the entire film, just his acting, his demeanor, the way he was so intelligently evil but also very childish at the same time. And then even when he's like super sick, somehow, even though he is such a horrible person before, and he probably will turn out to be a horrible person at the end of the movie if he reverted back to his normal self, which I think he did, there was like this moment in the movie after the police start to beat him up and stuff like that, and his parents, like the parents scene, which is super sad, super tragic. He's looking at the water like he wants to kill himself and stuff like that. And then after that parents scene, I felt sorry for him, which was so weird. Like, it was very tragic, and I think he acted this tragedy so well, as if he was being forced. Like the title says, he became a machine. He wasn't really a person anymore. He became a machine of the government. And so, like, even though he was a horrible person before, you sort of start to feel sorry for this guy, because all of this stuff that happened to him is not entirely his fault. Like, yes, he got put into jail, and this, he said yes to this treatment and everything like that, but the treatment itself was a form of torture, and then he's just been tortured day in, day out ever since, to be used as a tool instead of to be seen as a human. And so there was this inherent tragedy with his character, even though he was so horrible before, which I really enjoyed. It was a very complex, I guess, idea, and a very complex character, and I think they pulled it off, and Malcolm McDowell pulled it off very, very well. And so yeah, that is my reaction and review to A Clockwork Orange, the 1971 Stanley Kubrick film. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much to these wonderful, beautiful, amazing people right here for supporting me and supporting my channel. It really does mean a lot. And yeah, any other Kubrick movies, I will definitely try and check them out as long as I can find them. I've seen 2001: A Space Odyssey. I know I said it at the start, but just in case you didn't hear, I've seen that one, and I saw Doctor Strangelove as well. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time for my next movie reaction.